Hi, I'm Dr. Rene Hackney. Welcome to Week 3, Part 3 of 8 Weeks to Positive Discipline. In this segment, I'll be talking about alternatives to no. It's interesting that in the last 10 years, in most positive discipline books, there's a section on alternatives to no. The point being that we want to be saying yes to our children often, and that they don't need to hear as many no's as they do. Of course, it is okay to say no to your children when it's needed. They need to learn that there are boundaries in life. They need to learn how to delay gratification. They need to learn how to handle their own frustration when there is a no. It's not what those sections are about. I actually met a parent who said, our child is never listening to us. We need some help. We read all those books, so we never say no to him. And I was like, oh, that's not what they meant. They meant there's a balance in there. That so often we're saying no to our children because it's the quick thing, it's the easy thing, it's the first thing out of our mouths. And the idea in parenting with positive discipline is that you want the yes to be your default answer. The no's are there for when you need them. The no's are there for when you need to set a limit or when you need to set a boundary. Most young children, are like the 2 and 3-year-olds, are often very frustrated by some of the no's they hear because they don't understand the reasons why not. I think of Claire when she was really little and she'd come over and say, I have a cookie. And if I say, no, honey, we're about to have dinner, to the child with the cookie in their hand, none of that matters. You're going to ruin your appetite. No idea what an appetite is. Just have a cookie in my hand. And so the idea there is they get way more practice than they need. This is a list of ways that we can mean no without saying it as often. The first, consider why not. You want the yes to be your default answer. And this comes from having been a preschool teacher for years. In a preschool classroom, we want it to be a very child-led place, a child-focused place. The idea of a child at home is we at least want them to have, happy childhood, fun childhood, the freedom where they can have freedom. And so of course there's going to be some no's, but say yes when you can. I think of Claire when she was about 3 years old. She was sitting up at the dining room table and she said, hot pizza, cold yogurt. She said, can I put my yogurt on pizza? And I wanted to say, no, gross. But I said, are you going to eat it? She said, yes. I said, okay. She put strawberry yogurt on her cheese pizza, ate the whole thing. Ugh. But it was one less no we had to deal with. Now, had she done that and not eaten it, I would have said no the next day. But she ate it. So the next day when she asked to put it on her toast, I said, if you're going to eat it, yes. She ate her yogurt that way for a couple of weeks, which, yes, gross, but it didn't really matter. And so it's one of those times where you can consider why not. You can give the yes as your default answer. The idea is to have the no's when you need them. The no's when there's really good reason. Another skill that gets you around these no's and don'ts and stops is just using solution-focused language when you can. We already talked about this. Instead of saying no running, don't run, you're saying walking feet, slow down in the house. Instead of saying no grabbing, don't grab, you're saying ask for a turn, wait for a turn. The positive directions get you out of the no's and don'ts and stops. I tend to think the look, if you have it, I don't have it at all. But my husband can look, when the girls were little, he could just look at them from across the room and they would stop what they were doing. He's not a threatening guy, but that look that he had, it was communication enough to put a limit on behavior. I think that's fine if you have the look. The body language, if you have it, the crossing your arms, the, pointing at, I think it's fine to communicate in those ways. I don't have that either. My dad didn't have that either, but I remember one time we were on our way to Grandma's house and he said, we're going to Grandma's and Grandma makes a lot of sweets. And when I do this, you've had enough. And it was like secret code with Dad. So my dad didn't have the body language either, but I remember one year we were on our way to Grandma's house and he said, Grandma makes a lot of sweets. And when I do this, you've had enough. And it worked. It was like secret code with Dad. Grandma's offering us more sweets and my dad from across the room is this. And we're like, oh, Grandma, we're done. It was somehow less to argue with. that body language. So I think body language is fine, the look is fine. Just using other more descriptive words. They're going for the trash and you say dirty or yuck, or they're going for the stove and you say hot. It's a warning without all the no's and don'ts. Recognizing emotions, that just giving empathy. Let's say you've been at the beach all week and you're packing the car and everybody is tired and the little 5-year-old comes out and says, can we stay one more day? And you want to say, no, get in the car. But instead, you say, I know it is so hard to leave. You are having so much fun. I wish we could stay another week, as you load them in the car. This giving empathy in the moment where you need to move forward, it's called matter-of-fact empathy. It's empathy and move. They say this is one of the things to do when a child doesn't want to go to school and they're complaining in the morning. I don't want to go, I don't want to go. So many parents try to give logic and reasoning. All of your friends are there. You had fun yesterday. That's just stuff to argue with. No, I don't like them. I didn't play with them at all yesterday. Yesterday was the worst. The idea, if you're getting into the logic and reasoning, is it's an argument. Instead, give them empathy. I know you don't want to go. This is really hard. You want to stay home as you tie their shoes, as you walk them in. You're just recognizing emotion, allowing the emotion, rather than fighting the emotion, which turns into a bigger debate than you already had. Making behaviors appropriate. They're running amok out inside, you take them outside. They're throwing matchbox cars, you give them balls. That's the substitutions. They're waving a knife in the restaurant, you give them a spoon. It's that idea of either doing something to make the behavior itself appropriate or substituting a thing so it's appropriate. Saying yes with conditions. Can I watch TV? Yes, after dinner. Can I have a cookie? Yes, tomorrow for snack. Allison at 9 years old will go, that means no. And I would say, well, it means no now, but it means yes, tomorrow for snack. Now, if you're the parent who says, yes, you can watch TV after dinner, you need to turn on the TV after dinner. If you say, yes, you can have that cookie tomorrow for snack, you need to write their name on it and put it up on the counter so they can have it tomorrow for snack. You do not want to be the parent who says, yes, tomorrow for snack, and then lets everybody forget about it, because then your word over time is less trustworthy. And so you want to be sure that when you say the yes with conditions, you're actually following through. The next alternative to no is describing the problem. This is just taking the no off of the sentence, and I tend to think somewhere around 5 or 6 years old, this one makes sense. Can we go outside and play? There are toys on the floor. You just took the no off the sentence. 6-year-olds should be able to make that leap and go clean up the toys. The wish is the beginning of humor, a little bit of empathy. They say, can I have a cookie? And you say, I wish we had a cookie this big and we could eat it for dinner. Or, can I sleep in your room? I wish we could have a slumber party, as you walk them back. It's a nice way to couch the no. I think humor, distraction, redirection, all of those things, easy and fine. Humor, if you can say something funny and be out of the moment, more power to you. Distraction, they're arguing with each other in the sandbox and you can say, hey, look, a puppy, and it's over. I think it's fine sometimes. There's going to be so many times in life where that doesn't work and you have to use some other skills, but distraction here and there is fine. Redirection, they're arguing over the bucket in the sandbox and you bring out 6 shovels to pick from and now they're on to the next thing. It's just a little bit of movement forward. The broken record is repeating yourself. And if you watch the last segment, I was just saying don't repeat yourself. So you want to avoid repeating yourself when you're asking them to do something. So you're asking a child to put on their shoes. Say it once. It's time to go put on your shoes, please. And then help them listen, choices, challenges, contribution. Being the broken record, repeating yourself, this is when they're asking you to do something. So let's say you've tucked your child into bed at night and they want to ask you 6 more things. Can you come tuck me in again? Can you fix my blanket? Can I have a drink of water? Can you come read me another story? When there's a lot of that, the broken record is once you've tucked them into bed, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. And the idea for many 5, 6-year-olds is that they just are frustrated by you. They know they're not getting anywhere past that moment. It's fine to try the broken record or the mantra. The mantra is what some people, psychologists, suggest you do when you want to keep your child in bed at night. Let's say you've got that 2.5 to 3-year-old and they've moved to the big kid bed and they realize they can get up, and they get up, I don't know, in my house 42 times in an hour. The broken record there, the mantra, is you take them back and take them back and take them back, and you say the same thing each time, and you keep your cool. So in my house, getting up that many times, it's time to stay in bed, time to stay in bed, time to stay in bed. I think at time 30, I lost it in my room by myself and was like, oh. But then, as soon as I say time to stay in bed, if you snap and yell at everybody at time 17 just became the new goal. It's a game. If they found a breaking point. So if you're going to do a mantra like that, you have to know that you can outlast. You have to know that you can maintain your calm and just move through that repeatedly. This next one, it sounds crazy when you first hear it, but it works for good reason. Let's say I'm up late at night studying, and my girls, Allison, comes into the room. She's 4 years old, and she says, "Can I sleep with you?" Now I'm awake. So I draw her a little stick figure laying on a rectangle, and I say, "This is a picture of you in bed. Go to bed." Works for a couple reasons. The first is it's got a little shock value. It gets everybody's attention. Mommy drew me a picture. But the real reason it works is they're taking a visual copy of the verbal directions. It is a picture of them in bed. It's reminding them to stay in bed. When they go back and look at it, they're in bed. And so the idea there is you're giving them a visual copy of the verbal direction, which then reminds them of the verbal direction. My sister-in-law took this class. She said she was at home and her kids were playing in the living room. They were all arguing with each other. And she drew a very simple 3 smiley faces and some blocks. And she said to her girls, "This is you all being nice," and taped it to the TV. She said for the next hour or so, they were like, "I'm nice, you're nice, we're nice." They colored the picture. It got their attention. It refocused them on the positive direction. When I first started teaching preschool, we had a little girl who went to Child Find for special education services and came to our preschool later in the day. And we really wanted her to head into the bathroom, then wash her hands, then go to the snack table and have snack, then go over to her cot for nap. Everybody else was already napping, so she didn't have all those cues. We must have said 17 times a day, into the bathroom, wash your hands, stay at the snack table, stay at the snack table. One day, as she was coming into the classroom, we were all wearing big yellow pictures of the potty. Potty, she went right into the bathroom. Everywhere she looked, the teachers had a potty necklace, so she said that was the reminder for the direction. And when she came out, we put that off and put on the snack table necklace. Snack table, right to the snack table. It was a visual copy of the verbal directions, which is why those pictures work. And they don't have to be great pictures. They can be stick figures, but you're explaining it to the child that that's what that is. Those are all alternatives to no. Ways to get around saying no so often, ways to be so heavy in the discipline early on. I really want for you that default answer in parenting to be yes, that you save your no's for when you have good reason. That said, every once in a while, when you do say no, you're going to change your mind, switch it to a yes. Ideally, think about it first. Say no when you mean it, and follow through. But every once in a while, if you end up changing your mind, you just want to fully explain. Let's say you've said to children, "No, we can't stay at the park right now." And then a second or two later, you realize, "Oh, we have 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes, we can stay." Instead of just saying, "Oh, sure, yeah, we can stay," where they just saw you flip-flop, but they don't know why, let them know why. "Oh, hey, I just realized we actually have 10 more minutes, so I'm changing my answer to yes." It doesn't sound like you just waffle. Because if it sounds like you just waffle a lot, even though you had good reason for changing, if it sounds like you just waffle a lot, when you say no, they're going to see if wait you out to see if you're going to change your mind. Another way around all of this, another alternative to know, but it takes a lot more action, is replaying the positive behavior. At preschool, if I want my children to walk in line, we practice walking in line. We walk around the classroom in a line. We walk in between the tables in a line. We high-five each other because we stayed in line. It's replaying the positive. Let's say you want your kids to play in the front yard without going past the sidewalk. You might take them out to the front yard one day and say, guess what we're going to do? We're going to practice stopping at the sidewalk. So what I want you to do when I say go, everybody run, but stop your feet in the grass, or stop your feet when I say stop. And everybody runs, you go stop, and you go look at you, you're in the grass.